Se me ha acabado el presupuesto para dubstep y partículas. Así que aquí la tenéis, la intro de Necro for Fun.
El puto amo.
Bien, cambios al endgame. Helltide, María Infernal. Ahora aparece también en Mundo 1 y 2. Tiene más densidad.
You know, and we think that that's great. Players are able to get better access to Forgotten Souls and all the gameplay there. But we also, like, looking back on Season 2,
hay muchas más cajas, monstruos dinámicos.
Where, you know, the armies of Lord Zir were marching across sanctuaries. We all recall from quarter 4 of last year.
Aparecen, spawnean ítems materiales raros que se usan para invocar eventos de bosses dentro de la marea. Y hay muchos más mini eventos. ¡Oh, qué guay! Mucho más frenética, más completa, más diversa.
And also managed to summon Heralds of Malthus in a group and go ahead and get more like tuning stones and more and governing stones and continue to like just get more rewards from that experience. And again, we thought that was pretty fun, right? So we wanted to take some of these ideas back to Helltide, and I'll be.
Actually,
I think it might be even easier if we could just throw to Ruben potentially, who I think might actually be able to be in Helltide right now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Looks like that's the case.
So mira arriba a la derecha el modificador.
Hello, yes, you're going to get destroyed. Yeah, we want to take some of these ideas back to Helltide and make sure that our overworld, exciting, demonic invasion experience that players get to go through here is more fun to engage with.
Was that just a giant hellworm belching a bunch of enemies at?
That was a giant hellworm belching a bunch of enemies up. So a bunch of things have changed. So one of the things that let me dive in. So one of the things that we did is we add this new idea of a threat system. And now you'll see the eagle-eyed among you can look to the left of the minimap. Thank you, Ruben. Can look to the left of the minimap, and you'll see a horizontal bar segment.
Mira, han puesto a un creador de contenido a grabar el gameplay.
As the players are killing demons in Helltide areas, they are slowly growing their threat over the course of the experience. And as they do that, they're going to find like more like ambushes. They're going to find more creatures coming and trying.
Hostia, mira el icono.
As they kind of like roll through the space. And this, they're gaining threat by doing anything. If they're opening tortured gifts, if they are killing like regular monsters and elites, you know, they're always earning more.
Pero que hay aquí liada.
The armies of hell are paying more attention. So as the player is going to go through this process, they are going to start feeling like more pressure as they go through the experience. Now, once the player is gotten towards the end of this, like they actually have, you know, when the armies of hell have been fully alerted, you know, you'll hear a tone, which I think we might actually hear soon potentially. I guess we'll have to see. But you'll hear a tone alerting you to the fact that the armies of hell are basically coming for your blood, right? They're coming for you at this time. And in that case, you're going to see that there's going to be a new creature type that's going to appear, which we'll be able to get to in just a second. Some of the other big changes that are happening in Helltide alongside this, while we kind of wait for some of this stuff to happen, is we have reduced the level requirement or the world tier requirement for Helltides. You'll start to see them in lower world tiers now, so they're in a great way for you to level up. Okay, it looks like the forces of hell have been.
¿Lo habéis oído?
So now there's going to be like it's going to be almost a little more of a holdout. More invasions and ambushes are going to start to occur at this time.
Hostia, está quemando el recurso que ha conseguido, lo está quemando para que le spawnen bichos.
But you can see right now that threat is draining while this event is occurring. So you've kind of like reached that maximum threshold. You know, the minions of hell are coming for you. You're going to be you know, kind of fighting.
Se ha activado el pentagrama y están a aparecerle bichos encima.
You know, once this bar is drained,
o sea, pila estáticas a muerte.
Again, going out, doing more things inside the hell.
Viste yo que a minuto te mueres, van a ser lo suyo aquí.
More cinders and more of these ambushes again as time goes on. So we're getting towards the.
Pero esto va a ser una cantidad de experiencia bastante insultante, ¿no?
Oh yeah.
Should be getting this Hellborn here.
Yeah. So yes, and now.
Mira, y el boss final.
Hellborn they're very much a similar creature to some of the blood seekers that we've seen in the past. These are adventurers who have fallen to the depravities of hell.
O le cuesta,
now serving
o va muy mal equipado, o le cuesta.
They have great drops, like they'll drop like legendary equipment, and they will also drop summoning materials for Lord Zir moving forward. So there's more ways for you to get some of those mats as you go through the experience. And that's actually one of the other things that we did as part of our general updates.
Me gusta, me gusta.
We kind of wanted to go through and do a pass to make it easier to find more of those boss summoning materials, like from doing like different kinds of content. So while obviously you can go to Hell Tides and open tortured gifts to get living steel pretty quickly, we want to make sure that there's like, if you find like a treasure goblin, there's a chance now that treasure goblin could drop a random boss summoning material. You know, when you go and you open bounty caches or whisper caches at the end of a bunch of whispers runs, like in that situation, you'll also get a chance to get a random boss summoning material. No, and
ojo, los materiales para invocar a Duriel y a esta gente también te pueden caer de goblins, cajas, de élites, de bosses. Hasta los élites random te pueden soltar los materiales para invocar a Grigore.
Saying specifically in just Nightmare Dungeons to get Distilled Fear or something else, right? So yeah, I think those are going to be some pretty fun updates for the players. That's obviously
pretty
not
exciting.
Everything.
Yeah.
So so another thing that we're doing as part of this is that we are adding a new boss.
Nuevo boss.
Andariel. So you can now fight Andariel. She is summonable by defeating the beast.
Ahora la bestia de hielo y Lord Zir van a dropear materiales para un nuevo boss de endgame.
So we want to make sure that players
Mismo concepto de Gonduriel, pero en vez de ser Grigore y Barsan, van a ser la bestia de hielo y Lord Zir. Andariel, papá. Andariel. Con el mismo drop que Duriel,
Go do Nightmare Dungeons, go do some of this overworld content and Helltide content to gain access to Beast and Ice in Lord Zir, so you can go farm Andariel there. We think that's going to be like a really, really fun change.
O es Andariel o es el boss del acto 2. Andariel. ¡Ahí está! ¡Ay, cómo me gusta! Andariel.
No, it's gonna be.
I want to say the fight's been updated too. It's not exactly
no, pero Diablo 4 mimi. Ya salta más por culo.
Very excited about this fight and very excited about Andariel for a while.
No, pero la Sepok mimi tiene mucho más en game.
She's gonna be a lot
Ya.
All the poison of the class.
Yeah.
Andariel.
Okay, enough Andariel. Enough Andariel.
All right, yeah.
People will see that. We're on a timer, people. Okay, I got things to talk about still. Okay, but that's not even all the things that we're changing with regards to bosses. There's more stuff that we're doing as well. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about in just a minute is a new feature called the Pit. And inside the Pit, you're going to be earning Stygian stones you'll be able to use to summon higher level versions of all of these bosses as you go deeper into the experience. So we think this is extremely exciting. It provides another way for players to be able to like express their build strength, and going and fighting these bosses are going to provide much greater rewards. In fact, when you kill one of these new very powerful tormented versions of these bosses out there, they are going to give you one resplendent spark the first time you kill any of them. So of like all the ones that you can summon, first time you kill one of them, you're going to get a resplendent spark for you to use in the future. Now, and that is not all that we're doing. Obviously, I mentioned the Pit. So if we could just go ahead and well, I guess we could talk about it. I'm going to speak to it actually. Yeah. So we've been getting a lot of feedback from like our.
Bueno, sé natural. Me gustaría pensar que todos.
You know, so towards the end of season 2, we had this like really difficult like dungeon dive. We were going against again forces of Lord Zir inside this experience and fighting Bloodseekers and kind of racing the clock. And that was a pretty fun experience. We got a lot of really good information and feedback about how that really played out. We made a number of adjustments in the form of this new content type that we're calling the Artificer's Pit. And what it effectively is a way for players to go and once players have managed to complete a tier 45 Nightmare dungeon, which is filled with like level 100 monsters, they're going to gain access to a quest that's going to like send them around the world looking for rune shards. And rune shards are just this new material that players will collect to open up Artificer's Rifts. And they drop from elite creatures, they drop all over the place. Like it's pretty easy to find, the materials you'll need to start this process. And when you have a number of them, you can bring them back to this obelisk in Karagar and kind of use that to like form your first pit run effectively. And there's hundreds of levels of this, and the monsters that you begin fighting immediately are all like right at level 1.
Espera, que igual lo estoy diciendo yo mal. Ha dicho a partir de bichos de nivel 45 así, bichos de nivel 100, zonas fallas de nivel 45, van a empezar a droparte unos materiales que sirven para abrir fallas superiores. Y hay cientos de niveles de fallas superiores.
So we see here that Ruben's coming here. He's already done the rift before. He's going to go ahead and just open up a tier 1 Artificer's Rift. And we'll see how this
Se llama la falla del artificio, que es una falla superior, y que los bichos de nivel 100 van a dropear los materiales para poder abrirlas. Y hay cientos de niveles, podemos subir hasta donde queramos. Bienvenido a las fallas superiores a Diablo 4. ¡Oh, Dios mío! Llevamos hora y media de mejoras, 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 mejoras sin parar. 10 minutos de falla. Esto es una falla superior en esta regla. ¡Uy, qué rico! Los enemigos a nivel 100, que sería el principio. Esto es muy parecido al sistema que probaron en la Season 1 del Avatar of Zir. No vas a conseguir ningún tipo de drop ni de nada durante la falla, no te agobies.
Now, a couple of the major differences between what we've done in the Artificer's Pit relative to what we did in the Abattoir of Zir is first, in the Abattoir of Zir, when a player died while going through the experience, they were immediately ejected from the Abattoir of Zir. Like, their run was over in the case of death. Here, we want to allow for a little bit more, a few more problems to occur, a few more errors, from the player as they're kind of going through. So that every time you die, what actually ends up happening is you add 30 seconds to your timer.
Dice que aquí en el matadero de Lord Zir, cuando morías te echaban de la falla a tomar por culo. Aquí no. Aquí te van a sumar 30 segundos y punto. Que es la penalización máxima que te dan fallas superiores Diablo 3. O sea, fallas superiores con tiempo, con timing.
The pit, as Charles referenced earlier, is the place you need to go in order to obtain the bulk majority of those masterworking materials.
Claro, los materiales para hacer el masterworking, para hacer los upgrades tochísimos que requieren los ítems, salen de aquí. Las fallas superiores van a ser la fuente de materiales para hacer el metacraft.
So why is this? So one of the things we recognize that we think is very unique to Diablo and to SARPGs in general is that a lot of times players are making like efficiency bets about how they choose to engage with content. They're deciding, okay, I can kill monsters of this level fairly easily and without much risk. How much further beyond this level can I push in order to maximize the rewards I'm getting from the runs that I'm doing?
Dice una cosa que es muy propia de los RPGs y concretamente de Diablo es, vale, yo en este nivel estoy cómodo, puedo ser muy eficiente, puedo hacérmelo muy rápido, voy a farmear, voy a equiparme y voy a ver hasta dónde llego. Y tú gestionas tu tiempo y tus recursos para potenciarte, para intentar llegar hasta donde tú quieras. Pero tú decides cómo. Hemos querido empezar en un punto que nos parece razonable, que es bichos de nivel 100, que sería el equivalente a una falla de nivel 45, pero puedes llevarlo hasta donde quieras. Puedes meter bichos de nivel 250.
I think we saw earlier that Ruben actually jumped
no hay
into
techo.
a portal to move to a different area.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you can't finish
esto le va a salir muy mal.
Pit run inside that first area. You kind of are expected to move on, but you also don't need to kill everything in either of these areas either. There's a good amount of creatures in both spaces.
Y si hay suficientes bichos como para que no tengas que matarlo todo, puedes esquipear donde consideres, ir tirando hacia adelante, matar solo élites. La estrategia la decides tú, no tienes que matar todo. Y encima, como empieza tan pronto, y aquí estaría la pelea con el boss.
Great job, Ruben. So you managed to do it. Okay, let's not get too excited. All right, so now he's gonna go and he's gonna fight the boss in just a moment. Now the second thing that's different about
y aquí está el boss.
The pit that we you just start to see it a little bit. There's different from what we've done in AOZ in the past. Is that occasionally during a pit run you're going to be confronted by another major boss or villain that you've seen. You'll see their echo occasionally appear just for a moment to perform a big attack. Big sweeping attack, or that you're going to have to avoid or deal with while you're dealing with the boss you're already fighting. And this is happening throughout the duration of the pit as well.
Dice que mientras te estás peleando contra el boss puede aparecer un eco, una sombra de otro bicho que te haga ataques de área muy grandes, y que la gracia está en que Tienes que estar planteándote que no te estás peleando solo contra tu boss, sino que tienes que estar mirando el entorno.
You know, so like you'll be dealing with that that kind of pattern following as you play deeper and deeper into the pit.
Yeah,
Sí, claro, cuanto más vas avanzando y vas profundizando, más dificultad supone. Y te da eso, la Stygian Stone.
These are definitely tough things as you go deeper and deeper, and eventually you might see a couple of them as well in combination. So okay, so here Ruben killed the boss, got a number of different drops. There's a bug in this version that we're looking at right now where the items are dropping or not.
He dado algo llamado obducite.
But that's not the case when players have been playing on the PTR. You all see ancestral items as the rewards for killing the boss here at the end. And then after that, when you open the chest, you're going to see that there's a bunch of obdusite that popped out of it, which is a masterworking material. You know, I think he got
¡Ojo! Ha metido cosas nuevas.
from the first run.
¡Ah! Ha tenido que cerrarlo de las gemas para que no veamos los cambios.
Basically 3 tiers of masterworking materials you're going to be able to earn through. So there's the obdusite, there's the ingolith, and then there is the neath iron. So these are available as you go deeper and deeper into the pit experience. I think obdusite right now is like tiers 1 to 20. You know, you'll be getting like amounts of obdusite as you go from like.
Son los materiales para hacer el metacraft.
Amounts of ingolith, and as you go to neath iron and beyond, as you go into like 40 and beyond, you're starting seeing more and more neath iron. And these things can also be like condensed down to lower level materials if you need them for resetting a masterwork item starting at a lower level.
So you don't have to go back to the low level.
No,
you can stay at the high.
You can stay at a high level.
Si tú puedes tirar todo lo arriba que quieras, que según vayas subiendo, los materiales, según vayan siendo mejores, te van a caer también materiales de nivel más bajo. No te agobies, tira todo lo arriba que puedas.
You want to push to that efficiency bet that you said. Push yourself to your limit to get the most materials per hour, and just really fight that hard content to get the best items.
That's correct. So yeah, if you want to go through that process and like really get those the best items available for your build, you're going to want to go through the masterworking process, maybe even probably more than once, almost certainly more than once, right, to get the absolute very, very best items. You know, so we think the pit's gonna be it's a really fun experience. It is it's very extendable, so it goes pretty deep for players. And again, as you're going, you're getting these Stygian stones as you play. You know, like as you get deeper into the experience, you're gonna get those. You're gonna get the ability to go fight those level 200 tormented versions of these bosses. So like a level 200 tormented version of Barshan,
and so
on and so forth. All of these bosses have a higher chance to drop uber unique item as well. So now there's even more reason to want to go get some of these creatures on farm. And they have better drops. They more prolific in terms of the drops. They drop many more items.
Sí, nivel 200.
So there's these are going to be huge challenges.
O sea, una GR100 era un bicho 154. Son 50 niveles más de lo que estábamos viendo. Sí, el equivalente a un matadero Lorcir tocho.
We're currently very excited about.
Yeah. So
on the content side. Right?
Yeah, we're an hour and a half in of all the content that we just walked through with Season 4. And as you know, Adam had mentioned earlier,
todavía no han dicho nada de la mecánica de Season 4. Todo esto es solo contenido core.
You guys will actually see that next week. Normally we do have a blog and patch notes kind of available like a day or two after a campfire chat. I am asking the community if it's okay if we give it to you guys next week, because the only reason why is that they're huge.
Vale, dice que las notas del parche van a ser muy bestias y que nos las van a dar la semana que viene porque tienen que hacer cositas con ellas. Que normalmente justo el día después del Campfire chat o después del Campfire chat se nos dan las notas y que esta va a esperar. Y que el día 2 de abril tenemos el RPP en funcionamiento. En PC, solo en PC. La Season 4 sale el 14 de mayo. La han retrasado un mes.
I can't imagine